Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. If you're new here, make sure you subscribe and turn on notifications so you don't miss any updates. Today's gist is something fans have been debating non-stop, and it's getting really interesting. We're looking at how Maurice, Sam, and Pearl Watts compare to other popular Nollywood pairs, and whether their connection stands out or just blends in with the rest. Now let's be real, Nollywood has given us a lot of unforgettable on-screen and off-screen pairings. From strong romantic leads to fan-favorite duos, there's always that one pair people can't stop talking about. But lately, Maurice and Pearl have entered that conversation, and fans are starting to place them side by side with some of the most talked-about pairs in the industry. First thing to look at is chemistry. When people talk about Nollywood pairs, chemistry is always the #1 factor. Some pairs have it instantly, while others build it over time. With Maurice, Sam, and Pearl Watts, fans are saying their chemistry feels very natural. It doesn't look forced or overly dramatic. It's calm, smooth, and very believable. When you compare that to some other Nollywood duos, you'll notice that a lot of them rely heavily on scripted intensity. The emotions are loud, the expressions are big, and everything feels heightened for the screen. But Maurice and Pearl seem to operate differently. Their vibe is more subtle, and that's exactly what some fans find refreshing. Another important factor is relatability. Many Nollywood pairs are admired, but not all of them feel relatable. Sometimes the lifestyle, the drama, or even the way they interact can feel distant from everyday reality. But with Maurice and Pearl, there's this simplicity in how they connect that makes people feel like what they're seeing could be real. Now let's talk about consistency. One thing that keeps certain Nollywood pairs relevant is how often they appear together, whether in movies, public events, or online. Consistency builds familiarity, and familiarity builds fan attachment. Maurice and Pearl have been showing up around each other quite often, and that repeated presence is helping them grow into a recognized duo. If you compare that to other pairs who only appear together once in a while, you'll see the difference. Those pairs might have strong moments, but they don't always have the continuity that keeps fans invested long-term. Another angle to consider is balance. In some Nollywood pairings, one person tends to dominate the dynamic, while the other follows. But with Maurice, Sam, and Pearl Watts, fans feel like there's a balance. Both of them bring energy, both of them engage, and neither one seems overshadowed. That balance is something that makes a pairing more appealing because it feels equal and mutual. Then there's the question of emotional depth. Some Nollywood pairs are entertaining, but they don't always feel deep. They give you moments, but not necessarily connection. With Maurice and Pearl, fans believe there's a certain level of depth in how they interact. Even in simple moments, there's something about their presence that keeps people watching closely. Now, let's compare them to some well-known Nollywood dynamics. There are pairs that are known for their intense romance, others for their dramatic storytelling, and some for their playful energy. Maurice and Pearl seem to fall somewhere in between. They're not overly dramatic, but they're not completely casual either. They sit in that middle space that feels both engaging and easy to watch. Another thing that sets some Nollywood pairs apart is how they handle public attention. Some pairs lean into the spotlight, while others stay more reserved. Maurice and Pearl seem to maintain a balance here as well. They're visible enough to keep fans interested, but not overly exposed to the point where everything feels staged. Fans have also pointed out the way they communicate. In many Nollywood duos, conversations can feel scripted or exaggerated. But with Maurice and Pearl, their interactions come across as more natural. The flow, the timing, and the reactions feel less like performance and more like real interaction. There's also the factor of curiosity. Some Nollywood pairs are already defined. People know what they are, what they represent, and what to expect from them. But Maurice and Pearl are still in that stage where nothing is fully confirmed. And that uncertainty is actually working in their favor because it keeps people guessing. When you compare them to established pairs, those pairs may have clarity, but they don't always have mystery. And sometimes, mystery is what keeps people more engaged. Another point of comparison is growth. Many Nollywood pairs become popular very quickly, but struggle to maintain that attention over time. The real test is whether a pair can keep evolving and staying relevant. Maurice and Pearl are still growing as a duo, and fans are watching closely to see how far they can go. There's also the role of fan perception. In Nollywood, fans play a huge role in shaping how pairs are viewed. Once fans start supporting a duo, creating content around them, and discussing them constantly, that pair begins to gain momentum. And right now, Maurice and Pearl are definitely gaining that kind of attention. But at the same time, it's important to recognize that every Nollywood pair is unique. Some are built on strong acting partnerships, others on real-life connections, and some purely on fan imagination. So comparing them doesn't necessarily mean one is better than the other. It just highlights what makes each pair different. When you step back and look at the bigger picture, what makes Maurice Sam and Pearl Wats stand out is the combination of natural chemistry, consistency, balance, and curiosity. These are the elements that are putting them in the same conversation as other popular Nollywood pairs. Still, the big question remains. Are they just another fan-favorite duo, or are they slowly becoming something more iconic within Nollywood conversations? That's something only time will tell. Because in this industry, staying relevant as a pair requires more than just chemistry. It requires timing, consistency, and the ability to keep people interested. So now over to you. When you compare Maurice Sam and Pearl Wats to other Nollywood pairs, do you think they stand out, or do you think they still have a long way to go? Drop your thoughts in the comments, and don't forget to subscribe for more trending gist and updates like this.